This week's episode of The Great Jahy is basically a taste of the Dark Realm. We've seen our girl suffer quite a bit, and when you kind of look at how she was in the Dark Realm, it's understandable why karma's catching up to her. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy seeing her basically because Druji loves the torture, she loves being stepped on, she loves serving under the Great Jahy. So, to watch a situation where she's going from eating beans or whatever the hell she's been making for the past couple of weeks here, to literally getting a limousine chock full of just amazing dishes, her mouth is so full of great sweets and dishes, that she then goes and sees what Druji's company is, and while she has a bit of a setback where she doesn't get to give an amazing speech because, well, Druji knows what the Great Jahy, of course, is thinking, she still ends up getting a taste of it with that Dark Realm party, and I have to say it was a really sweet one, because if we really take a look at where her journey's been over now 8 episodes, 8 weeks of this amazing show, you've seen her at her absolute lowest, but it does feel like more good things are piling upon her because she's starting to be a better person. And while yes, Druji, she thinks she's the most evil of characters, there's a reason why Karma's letting her kind of live in luxury for a brief while. And I mean, while yes, she's shooting herself in the foot and wanting to shoot others in the foot for not knowing what a bathhouse is, and the fact that she could have been for $3 literally basically feeling like she's luxury again, rather than sitting in a goddamn pot with a, bit of water that she drops almost every single time. It's nice to see how she's being rewarded for her better behavior, right? And I really like that about an episode like this, where basically I thought it was going to be kind of what we came to expect. She would search for the mana crystal, she would fail, maybe she tried to be bad, and then we'd get more character development. Instead, it was just kind of like a reward for her, which I think is a great way to end basically the first part of this show, because it kind of feels like we've reached a turning point, right? Yeah, we still have another 12 episodes confirmed that we're going to be watching carrying over into the next season, but it does feel like we've definitely reached a turning point, and I think it was nice to see her rewarded rather than punished for a change, which was a nice kind of surprise. And this is, I think, the second episode in a row that didn't have an after the credits gag, but I think similar to last week, given the character development and even the rewarding kind of satisfaction of this episode, we didn't really need one. And when they are there, they're definitely very memorable. I thought the idea of the speech was pretty great, because the idea of Druji working in a situation where she admits that she's basically stealing money from low-life scum, I'm glad at the very least there's an anime admitting as such of what this company is, because these companies exist in the real world, but they'll lie to your face saying they're not stealing from you. So it was great to kind of have that confirmation, at least from this anime. And to see her, build up this amazing confidence. I think she said, 5 words maximum, and Druji said the rest, with the entire crowd cheering her on. I just absolutely love that situation. And to see the idea of the landlady and manager going to a bathhouse, because apparently she bathes 3 times a week, which honestly is probably very similar to some celebrities that have come out recently and said that, oh no, you only bathe when you smell. What the hell's wrong with some of these rich people out there? So I'm glad to have another anime be like, hey, don't be stinky, stupid, get your goddamn showers and baths in. And it was great because really just the numerous things that seemingly are even better than her Dark Realm, the shampoo, the perfect water temperature, just the overall space of it, it's pretty great. And while she's definitely poor, I feel like if she plays her cards right, she might be able to get fed more often than not by Druji and just use that money as having a luxury bath. I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest that Druji ends up going to this same location as Jahy, either coincidental or they willingly go together and she claims she owns this bathhouse as well. Wouldn't be shocked in the slightest. Though I did like the cameo throughout the bathhouse where we saw that one character. I mean, the last time we saw this was the Clifford the Big Red Dog situation, so it's interesting how always keeping your eyes on Jahy no matter where she goes, which is a little creepy given the situation, but maybe it was just coincidental, right? But I just love this show. I think it's constantly a breath of fresh air. We're 2 months into this show, a little over 2 months, because there was that one episode gap because we had to wait a week because of, I think it was tennis or something like that sort of delayed it. But it's great because these characters are continuing to bond more and more. I love the idea of the landlady actually getting a little jealous of Jahy because her sis isn't doing the babying to her, which she clearly wants, but she's too old for it. There's just a lot of great things. I definitely think the idea of rewarding Jahy this episode was well worth it, because she's definitely reached a turning point. Look at last week with that character development, really starting to appreciate the human world. And yeah, she's crying and she's stomping her feet saying she misses the Dark Realm, but you can tell the positive influences have definitely changed her heart, even if it's just like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas and the size only increased a little bit since last week. It's still changed nonetheless, and I think episodes like these are why we really want to root for and see more of that, and it'll be interesting to see what the next objective for her will be, because clearly it's chasing after the mana crystals, but what are they going to do to keep it fresh and exciting? Because we have certain sceneries that we're used to, the apartment, the workplace, I guess the company at this point, probably the bathhouse. What is going to be the next scenery that's going to be added to it? A playground potentially with that childhood friend she met? Hard to say, but there's new building blocks being added to the mix, which add for a lot of creativity with the scenery and character dynamic. I would actually go as far to say probably this episode had my favorite variety of Jahy faces, because you have plenty of moments where her mouth is full, she's ecstatic, she's incredibly happy, right? And it's no real surprise given the type of shit she's been eating, to even the dumbfoundedness of when she doesn't get to give her speech, or just the overall ecstasy of pleasure from just having a nice warm bath, because I think they mention it in this episode, but it's pretty much implied that like she was bathing with like cold water or very lukewarm water at best, so like it's understandable why she was so in awe. And I actually like the idea of Jahy actually like using her childhood form to basically skip $2 of the paycheck to get into this bath, to then also flipping back and forth between child and adult when it suits her as she rubs it in the landlady's face. And you kind of get that typical anime, bathhouse situation where like the girls are either envious or jealous or overly clingy, but then you have Jahy just being the giant troll that she is, which is completely fantastic. I'm kind of excited to see the different types of like, I guess, leisure activities they might have, because I'd love to see situations like Jahy going to an amusement park or going to a haunted house or things like that, right? There's so many different things that could really explode this cast in very creative directions that normally a bathhouse situation would be there for simply fan service. Here, if you wanted some eye candy, they kind of allude to it, though there's that typical white mist. You're not going to see everything you want to see unless you get those BDs. But you also get so much funniness with it as well. So it just kind of feels like the most mundane or cliche of anime situations or original can come and turn out to be just as good as the last one, which is pretty fantastic. I mean, the voice actors are always blowing me away. Juji hasn't been involved for 2 or 3 weeks, it felt like. So to have her back in the cast, I mean, is always great, because she loves getting a stick of meat to the face and not in the way that you're thinking. And to see Jahy just continue to like feel like she's back there, but you can also tell she's sort of changed. And even though she's crying about going back to the dark realm, I love the idea that she clearly is, she's having a change of heart. You can definitely tell that she's liking the human world more and more. It'd be interesting to see when Juji figures out the truth, and if she would just convince herself it's a lie and just continue on with the momentum that they have, but I guess we'll see. Fantastic. I mean, exactly what we needed after last week, I think, for sure, and it'll be exciting to see where episodes 9 through 20 are going to go from here. But thoughts and feelings, favorite moment of the episode, and pick a scene or a situation, a setting that you would love to see the characters interact with. For me, amusement park or haunted house are definitely up on my list. But let me know yours down below. Leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.